Innovation leadership. What is leadership? Well, leadership is not, in my view, personality. Leadership is all about behavior. It's what leaders do. It's what leaders say. It's not what they look like. It's not what they sound like. So the implication of that is that innovation leaders need to be engaged in and participate in innovation. Let me give you a great example. Many years ago, Stan Galt was the CEO of Rubbermaid, and he brought the company from $300 million a year in revenues to over $1.3 billion. He would take one day every month where he would go to the R&D lab, participate on the new products team, go out and listen to customers, but in one way or another engage himself in the innovation process. Not be presented to, even though he was the chairman, but rather just as a colleague within the company. What that 12 days of his time did was really communicated and conveyed to the organization the importance of innovation, and he set the example. And that's what's so key for innovation leaders, is they have to set the examples themselves. They can't just say, I'm going to delegate it to other people. So what do we find are some of the common traits of innovation leaders that are so successful? And when you look at companies today, when you look at a company like Google that's just so incredible in terms of their growth trajectory and so doing so many innovative things throughout the company, what are characteristics of those types of leaders that we see that work the best? Well, I wrote a book called Apples Are Square, Thinking Differently About Leadership. And I co-authored that with Dr. Susan Smith-Kazmarsky, my wife. And what we identified were 6 leadership characteristics that really were those used by leaders of innovative companies, high-performing companies that really outbeat their competition. What were those characteristics? First, these are leaders that engaged in humility. Humility as opposed to ego. So these were humble leaders, people that made themselves vulnerable, people that recognized their own strengths and their own weaknesses, and didn't necessarily try to tell people, line up behind me because I'm the leader. Nope. They understood that they had to earn the respect of people within their organization. A second leadership characteristic, compassion or relationship building. The leader who understands that you have to partner with people. You can't just tell them to go work and get the job done. They have to feel as if they have a relationship with you, with their colleagues, with their peers, in order for teamwork within an innovation culture to really manifest itself. Third is transparency or openness. Are we really willing to share our thoughts, what's on our minds, our concerns, our expectations, our hopes as a leader within an organization? Are we willing to share the bad news as well as the good news? It's that openness or transparency about the organization also has to relate to ourselves. So how open are we as a leader within the organization? The fourth leadership characteristic is decisiveness, because leaders need to make decisions, but values-based decisiveness, not just based on profits. That means that the values that we've created within our organization have to be kept top of mind by the leaders who are leading that culture. And that set of values needs to be woven into all of their decisions. Every decision that's being made has to be values-based, not just profit-based. A fifth dimension is a characteristic is inclusivity, a strong belief that diversity is what breeds greater innovation success. I've seen innovation teams that were highly successful and not so successful. And let me tell you what I find most common on the highly innovative teams. First of all, you got to get the right set of people who are motivated and who are great problem solvers. But then what I find is one of the most important distinguishing factors is that those teams are highly diverse. Diverse from an age standpoint, functional backgrounds, race, color, cultures. I mean, the more diversity, the better to have a very effective cross-functional team, because that's what really makes a difference. That's what really matters. Because why? You're getting different perspectives from people, from their backgrounds, on how to solve a problem differently. And so that enables you, with a cross-functional team of 5 or 6 people, to really do some of the most creative and some of the best work. And the last characteristic is collaboration. Because, see, we now live in a different world where companies need to understand the power of partnering with organizations on the outside. It's no longer about doing all of your own R&D inside your own corporate ivory towers. No, because the entrepreneurial environment, entrepreneurs who have created these amazing companies, big companies need to partner with, small companies need to partner with. We need a more collaborative overall business mindset. And that's the last characteristics of innovation leaders. So when you think of those characteristics, somebody who's humble, who's transparent, who's open, who's collaborative, who's really values-based, these are the types of leaders that make for the most conducive environments for innovation to really thrive.